Now back to the story about subsidy removal. Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, said that the removal of the petrol subsidy has significantly boosted state revenues. And while was speaking on Thursday at the National Health Finance Dialogue in Abuja, Edun revealed that since the subsidy was removed, state funds have doubled. So to put this in proper perspective, I'm being joined live in our studio by Promise Adeniran, who is a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much, Promise, for coming around.
Thank you for having me.
So the fact that revenue for states have doubled is not new. It's not a new story. It's what we all know. But the question would always be if Nigerians are actually feeling the impact of the increased allocation to the subnationals. You're a Nigerian. Are you feeling the impact?
Not exactly, no. So unfortunately, Nigerians are not feeling the impact. And it's so sad because the removal of subsidy is supposed to mitigate a lot of, alleviate a lot of hardship that the Nigerians were initially going through. And so what this increase that the states currently have, state governments now have, is supposed to be put, to cushion some other hardships. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
So what is the disconnection between increased allocation and the inability of the subnationals to actually reflect that portion of fund designated to them to the people at the grassroots?
So I think there are a couple of factors. The first one is that the removal was supposed to be done gradually. It shouldn't have been done, that fast, that sharp. It should have been a gradual process. Secondly, there are certain things that ought to have been done before this removal even came to play. So there are some certain cushioning effects, certain laws, that should have been done to help people accommodate this thing better. Another thing is we haven't exactly empowered the masses. So you've given states a better allocation to the state government, but is it really trickling down? Because for the masses, it's not the state government that is in question. It's the local government, exactly, and they don't really have autonomy. So I would say that those factors will come into play, and that's why we're not seeing the effect of the increase in allocation. So
basically what you're saying is that there is no justification whatsoever, because I mean that's what the Minister of Finance is saying, that now that cash or fund has been increased, allocations have been increased, that justifies that the policies of government are in the right direction. So are you saying that what he is saying is actually wrong?
Not in its entirety. In every situation, you have what is actually happening and what ought to happen. What ought to happen is it's a good initiative. It ought to. So there's a report that came out June this year that says that I think about 80-something billion is what the government has been able to save from the removal of fuel subsidy. And so you see, this ordinarily, like I said, in an ideal situation, ought to be a good reason for it. It ought to complement it, but that's not the case, unfortunately. So I would say it is justified. It's just that the reality we have right now does not make it seem justified.
It's quite technical, but then it's interesting. So let's look at it this way. Does it mean that, fine, maybe this policy is good, but then there are other policies of government that is stifling the expected, improvement or positivity that we should have gotten from this particular policy? For instance, the 5% subsidy on energy, on petrol. One would have thought that shouldn't come into play, but then we are hearing that it will definitely come into effect.
So that's the thing. There's one policy that has been put in place. You've not even allowed the citizens breathe. They've not gone through the entire storming phase of this new regulation, and then you brought another one. So I think some of these things, they need to be faced, and we need to look at it holistically. Let's not always just make regulations or reforms in silo. So what is going to be the effect of this one on the layman? What's the effect on the normal Nigerian? Let's take all of these things holistically into play. I'll give you an example. Before we decided to do this now, did we even think of other reforms you know, other cushioning effects that will make this, you know, better accepted by the people and make the hardship not too much for them. Yes, I think those things we need to really consider.
Put them into consideration. Yeah. Thank you so much, Promise Adeniran, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
Thank you.
It was nice having you around.